Welcome to our deep dive into the landmark Keshavananda Bharati case. In this video, we'll explore the critical details, the reasons behind it, the historic judgment, and its far-reaching impact on the Indian constitution, politics, and society at large. The Keshavananda Bharati case, decided in 1973, was a turning point in Indian legal history. It questioned the extent of Parliament's power to amend the constitution. The case was brought by Keshavananda Bharati, a seer of the Ednir Mutt in Kerala, who challenged the Kerala government's attempts to impose restrictions on the management of religious property. This case led to the formulation of the Basic Structure Doctrine, which asserts that certain fundamental features of the Constitution cannot be altered by Parliament. Join us as we unravel one of India's most significant legal milestones that continues to shape our democracy today. First, let's understand the backdrop of this case. In 1973, the Keshavananda Bharati case emerged as a challenge to the government's sweeping power to amend the constitution. The case was initiated by Swami Keshavananda Bharati, the spiritual leader of a renowned religious institution in Kerala. He filed a petition against the state's land reform laws that threatened the institution's property. This legal battle soon escalated into a constitutional confrontation that would define the limits of parliamentary power. The Indian Constitution, adopted in 1950, was designed to be a living document, capable of evolving with the nation's needs. However, during the 1970s, Prime Minister Indira Gandhi's government sought to implement extensive amendments, leading to significant political and legal turmoil. The Keshavananda Bharati case became a pivotal moment in Indian legal history, questioning the extent to which the constitution could be altered by parliamentary authority. The events leading up to the case were marked by political instability and economic challenges. The 1967 general elections saw significant gains by opposition parties, creating a fragmented political landscape. In response, Indira Gandhi's government pursued aggressive policies, including the nationalization of banks and other key industries, which were met with both support and resistance. The 1971 war with Pakistan and the subsequent creation of Bangladesh further strained the nation's resources and political climate, setting the stage for the constitutional crisis that would follow. The case brought to light a fundamental question that has been at the core of many democratic societies for decades. How much power should the Parliament have in shaping the nation's future through constitutional amendments? At the heart of the Keshavananda Bharati case was the conflict over whether the government could amend any part of the Constitution, even if it meant altering fundamental rights that protect the citizens. This tension between the need for legislative flexibility and the fear of eroding constitutional principles set the stage for an intense legal battle that would define the limits of governmental power. The judiciary was called upon to safeguard the Constitution against potential misuse of power by the state. The case became a landmark in Indian legal history as it questioned the very essence of constitutional democracy. The arguments presented were not just about legal technicalities, but about the philosophical foundations of the Indian state. Could the Parliament, with its elected representatives, have the ultimate authority to change any part of the Constitution? Or were there inviolable principles that even the highest legislative body could not alter? The case saw some of the finest legal minds of the time, including the renowned jurist Nani Palkhivala, who argued passionately about the need to preserve the basic structure of the Constitution. The public, too, was deeply invested in the outcome, as the decision would impact the balance of power between the state and its citizens. The Keshavananda Bharati case thus became a symbol of the ongoing struggle to maintain a just and equitable society. Ultimately, the Supreme Court's verdict established the doctrine of the basic structure, ensuring that certain fundamental aspects of the Constitution could not be altered by parliamentary amendments, thus preserving the core values of the Indian democracy. The backdrop to this case also included the 24th Amendment, which sought to affirm Parliament's power to amend any part of the Constitution. including fundamental rights. This amendment was seen by many as a direct challenge to the judiciary's authority. Additionally, the socio-economic context of the time, with the government pushing for land reforms and redistribution policies, added another layer of complexity. These policies were aimed at reducing inequality, but were perceived by some as infringing on property rights. The media and public debates further fueled the controversy, highlighting the broader implications of the case for India's democratic framework and the protection of individual rights. Legal scholars and experts weighed in, emphasizing the need to balance the power of the Parliament with the protection of fundamental rights, ensuring that the Constitution remained a living document that could adapt to changing times without compromising its core principles. On one side, proponents of the government's stance argued that the elected Parliament should have the ultimate authority to amend the Constitution to reflect the will of the people and address contemporary issues. They believed that without such power, the government would be hamstrung in its efforts to implement necessary reforms and policies aimed at social and economic progress. On the other side, opponents, including many legal experts and civil rights activists, contended that allowing unrestricted amendment powers would undermine the Constitution's integrity and the fundamental rights it enshrines. They argued that certain core principles, such as the protection of individual rights and the separation of powers, must remain inviolable to prevent authoritarianism and protect democracy. This clash of perspectives underscored the complexity of balancing democratic governance with the need to uphold constitutional sanctity, making the Keshavananda Bharati case a pivotal moment in India's legal and political history. The Supreme Court's verdict, delivered on April 24, 1973, by a 13-judge bench, the largest in Indian history, was nothing short of historic. The court ruled that while the Parliament possesses extensive powers to amend the Constitution, it cannot alter its basic structure. This Basic Structure Doctrine has since become the bedrock of constitutional law in India, ensuring that certain fundamental elements, such as the rule of law, judicial review, and the safeguarding of fundamental rights, remain untouchable. The case was brought by Keshavananda Bharati, a seer from Kerala, challenging the Kerala government's attempts to impose restrictions on the management of his religious property. The judgment not only preserved the sanctity of the Constitution, but also set a precedent for future constitutional amendments, ensuring that the core principles of democracy and justice are upheld. The implications of this decision were profound. It established that any amendment that seeks to alter the fundamental framework of the Constitution would be invalid. This doctrine has been invoked in numerous landmark cases, reinforcing the idea that the Constitution is a living document, meant to evolve without losing its core values. The Keshavananda Bharati case remains a cornerstone in Indian legal history, symbolizing the enduring strength and adaptability of the nation's constitution. The aftermath of the Keshavananda Bharati judgment was monumental. The ruling effectively limited the Parliament's authority, ensuring that the essence of the Constitution could not be altered. This led to significant changes in the political landscape. The Basic Structure Doctrine has been invoked in numerous landmark cases since then, protecting the Constitution's core values. This judgment also reinforced the independence of the judiciary and underscored the importance of a system of checks and balances in a functioning democracy. One of the most significant changes was the 42nd Amendment in 1976, which attempted to curtail the power of the judiciary and expand the power of the Parliament. This amendment led to widespread protests and was partially rolled back by the 44th Amendment in 1978, restoring some of the judiciary's powers. The Keshavananda Bharati case remains a cornerstone in Indian constitutional law, continually shaping the interpretation and application of the Constitution. The 39th Amendment in 1975 was another significant change, which placed the election of the Prime Minister and Speaker of the Lok Sabha beyond judicial scrutiny. The 43rd and 44th Amendments in 1977 and 1978 respectively aimed to restore the balance of power between the Parliament and the judiciary, reversing many provisions of the 42nd Amendment. These amendments reaffirmed the judiciary's role in safeguarding the Constitution and ensuring that no single branch of government could undermine its core principles. The Keshavananda Bharati case remains a cornerstone in Indian constitutional law, continually shaping the interpretation and application of the Constitution. Of new political movements and parties that championed constitutional values and democratic rights. It empowered civil society organizations to advocate for transparency, accountability, and the protection of civil liberties, strengthening the democratic fabric of the nation. The judgment also influenced electoral politics, with political parties increasingly focusing on constitutional issues and the protection of fundamental rights in their manifestos. Over the long term, the Keshavananda Bharati case has entrenched the concept of the Basic Structure Doctrine, ensuring that the core principles of the Constitution remain inviolable. This doctrine has been invoked in numerous subsequent cases, providing a robust framework for judicial review and protecting the Constitution from potential overreach by the legislature. The case has also inspired grassroots movements and community initiatives. principles. Subscribe to stay updated with more educational content. Your support helps us continue to bring you important insights into the legal and political landscape. Don't forget to check out our other videos on landmark cases and constitutional amendments. We value your feedback, so leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts. Key takeaways from the Keshavananda Bharati case include the establishment of the Basic Structure Doctrine, the judiciary's role in safeguarding the Constitution, and the lasting impact on constitutional amendments. Dive deeper into these topics by exploring our detailed videos and articles. Follow us on social media and visit our website for more resources and updates. Thank you for watching.